Hello, folks. Well, Ian should be here shortly. Uh, DW, I have no idea. Hey, Jerry, Joel, RK. Uh, I got something I got to start with. Anyway, the way they're treating our junior enlisteds today is absolutely pathetic. They are not. Oh, joy, RK. That's going to be fun. Hey, Steph. They are not talking about $15 an hour for the military for basic pay. Hey, Don. Right now, the average E2 makes, based on about 60 hours a week, which is about what they work, $8 an hour. BAH, you just get to beat on things, RK. BAH, which is basic allowance for housing for a married couple, is an E2 is $12,000 a year. The rent averages more than that. Yeah, Koala, $15 an hour for the military would break brains. But what is happening is there's a interesting little twist in that if you're in the military and you're married, you are not eligible for food stamps, even though most of the junior enlisted are below the poverty line because of a quirk in the way the law has been written. So what has happened is that the junior enlisted that live off base, especially in California, in the Seattle area, and on the East Coast in certain places, cannot get food stamps. If they have a child, they can get WIC, which is not a lot, and they end up having to make decisions as to whether or not they're going to feed their kids or pay their rent or pay their power or have enough gas to actually get to work. Yeah, RK, we had food stamps back in the 70s and 80s. This is something that got changed, and I'm not sure when it got changed, to be perfectly honest. But what is happening is these kids are having to go to food distribution places to get food. And apparently the Armed Forces YMCAs, along with a couple of the other veterans organizations, have stepped up and they are feeding these kids. I've got two examples. One that took place back in '79, and I was standing the duty. I was the assistant squadron duty officer. So there's a lieutenant, myself, and another junior enlisted. And this was in December, late December. Had this kid come in about 10 o'clock on a Friday night. And he looked like he'd been drugged through a ringer. And he was checking into the squadron as a student. So we do the check-in process and said, all right, here's your barracks assignment. And he kind of hung his head and he said, I'm married and I got a little baby. And it was like, oh, okay. Well, we can get you a room over at the Navy Lodge, which was like $25 a night. He shook his head and he said, I don't have the money. He said, I had to spend all my money to get my car fixed so I could get here. So he was planning on sleeping in the parking lot with his wife and baby. They had $20 left and they were going to use that to buy food for the baby. So between the three of us, we managed to come up with enough to get him and his wife and baby room at the Navy Lodge through the weekend. Get him enough money to have food to eat. And Monday got him with Navy relief. And we managed to get them set up where they had at least coverage until the next paycheck came in. And here's Ian. The sad part was that this was not unusual back in those days.
Sorry, my guys.
In the early or late 80s, I was stationed in Moffett Field running a lab, and I had two E6s working for me that could not afford housing. So I had two families, E6s now, two families renting one house to have a place to live. And this was in Milpitas, which those of you that are familiar with California, Milpitas is not exactly a upscale area. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much a shit area. But that was the best they could do with what they had. And now here we are again in 2021 dealing with the same friggin' thing again. But yet, oh no, $15 an hour doesn't apply to the military. It's just
The wheel turns.
yeah, God.
The wheel turns.
Yeah. Yeah. They can't the sad part is, Cedar, they can't even get government cheese today. The best they
did
can
away with government cheese.
yeah. The best they can do is they can go to a food bank and they can get money or get food from the food bank. Yeah, DW, that's pretty much that's pretty much a point. And Nancy says your Aloha shirt gets a 10. Government cheese is WIC, but the thing is, Don, the only way you get WIC is if you have a child. If you don't have a child, you get nothing.
WIC is women, infants, and children.
Yep.
If I remember right.
Yeah, and $15 an hour is, minimum. Feeding America is one of the good groups, yes. E6 retired pay is, yes, that's correct, at the poverty level today.
Anything below E6 is ouch.
Yeah. And, you look at the number of veterans we've got that are medically retired and disabled, at E4, E5, they're hurting.
I think probably every veteran qualifies for disability one way or another these days, coming out of the global war and terror.
Yep. Yeah. The other thing is, somebody found, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but found a lever action bullpup belt fed 44 caliber
that thing
rifle.
That's been around the internet for a while.
Apparently it's actually being built in Turkey.
The Turks, color me surprised. The Turks are building
yes.
something squirrely. I wouldn't want to be the first one to drop the trigger on that or drop the hammer on it.
Yeah, DW, Soldiers Angels. And yeah, depend on the chow hall.
Yeah. I believe it's called a DIFAC these days.
Whatever. Yeah, the food banks can be hit or miss. That's very true.
Food banks require what people subsist on what people donate.
Yeah.
And people donate the wrong things to food banks.
Well, and as Nancy says, the problem right now is you got no choice.
Yeah.
With COVID, you drive up, they give you a box. You get what's in the box.
Yeah, and the box is filled with stuff people donated.
Yeah.
And while I was still wearing a badge, I talked to food bank people a couple of times, and they used to get so frustrated because people weren't donating the right stuff.
Yeah.
Evaporated people, they needed evaporated milk and powdered milk.
Yeah.
They needed, diapers and wipes, and there's stuff that they needed they weren't getting, and they weren't sure how to ask for.
Yeah. Yeah, Cedar, healthy tends to also be perishable. That's a true statement. Turkish arms are manufacturers are lousy at designing decent arms. Yeah, that's a true statement.
When
Jason.
the Turk steel design, they can recreate it fairly well.
Yeah.
The high end Turkish guns are from good reputable manufacturers are on par with anything else.
Yeah.
However, there are some Mick Turkey manufacturers out there that I wouldn't trust.
Yeah. Yeah. See, RK, we're in a different situation here in Texas because people can, we're not locked down like everybody else is.
Nope.
Soldiers Angels is a very good group. I've donated to them in the past many times.
I donate to Soldiers Angels before I donate to Wounded Warriors anymore.
Well, Wounded Warriors are right off my list anyway.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Nancy said most of the food bank up there, most of the stuff she wouldn't give to her chickens. Well, yeah, that's true too. But I guess it's just the frustration factor because we've been through this time and time and time again with the military, and if it weren't for the local people stepping up, I don't know what kind of a situation we'd be in.
What are we discussing?
I've started with a rant.
Oh, okay.
I haven't gotten any further than that. But the other thing is to be very choosy about what organizations you give to. And this especially holds true with, as much as I hate to say this, the Catholic Charities and the Jewish Charities and the Red Cross today. Tommy this and Tommy that. Yes, DW.
Ooh, Kipling.
Yeah. I actually posted that the other day. But it's gotten to the point now that even people that I know that are good Catholics have stopped giving to Catholic Charities.
I stopped having anything to do with Catholic Charities when that idiot bishop in Amarillo got stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, RK, I hate to think of how much money I've given the local grocers lately for the $10 a bag family meals. But it's better than it used to be because what they're doing now, at least here in Texas, is they make up a healthy meal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was donations. So you'd go buy 2 cans of corn, give one of them. Yeah, Peter posted a good link. Peter Grant posted a good link about the Catholic Charities and the Jewish Charities. As it turns out, they are the ones that are housing and distributing most of the illegals coming into the U.S. right now.
Well, the stupidity I referred to with the Bishop of Amarillo, he flooded Amarillo with refugees.
Yeah.
Unvetted, unchecked refugees that drove Amarillo's crime problem through there for a while, Amarillo's crime rate was higher than much higher than the national average.
Yeah.
And you couldn't say it was because of the immigrants, but it was because of the immigrants.
Yeah.
And he was proud of the fact that Amarillo had more immigrants per capita than any other city in Texas. I think Texas Red told us last time she was down here that the Amarillo Independent School District has to speak 65 different languages.
Yeah, I thought it was 67. Father Matheson? RK is asking.
I don't remember. It was Bishop.
Yeah.
He was the bishop of the Amarillo Diocese, and it was his Christian duty to welcome as many refugees into Amarillo as he could. And I'm looking at this stream of this plane load of military age Burmese males, thinking, oh, this is not going to go well.
Well, and Burmese and Somalians.
The Somalians were the ones that raised cornbread hell with the meat packing plant.
Because they didn't get to bow to.
Yeah, they wanted five religious breaks.
Yeah.
And their meat packing plant told them you get the same number of religious breaks as everybody else.
Yeah.
and they lost their poo. And the meat packer wound up spending a crap ton of money defending against a frivolous lawsuit because they couldn't get 5 additional religious breaks a day.
Yeah.
They lost in the end, and then most of them buggered off for Minnesota. But
Yeah.
that was a lot of money that the meat packer and the Citizens Emerald had to pay.
Yeah.
For a stupid lawsuit.
Yeah, Don, there are good ones out there that will help people get a place to sleep and food because they can't afford to get the van fixed. And they'll paying for rooms and food, I can see. But when it's, bus loads or plane loads, no. And as far as Wounded Warriors, we used to do shoots for Wounded Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of our big benefits that we did every year at our get-togethers, was we'd throw money in the pot for Wounded Warriors. And we actually did Wounded Warrior shoots down at Quantico, where we would bring the troops down from Bethesda and from the Army Hospital, which all that's now combined, and put them down on guns at Quantico.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what most of those kids wanted to do, was get back on a gun. And then Wounded Warriors came out and said, "Oh, well, that's nice, but we don't want any more money from y'all." And
we're not going to accept money from any activities involving guns.
Yeah.
Because there was a big Texas thing that they were donating to Wounded Warriors. They were taking veterans out on guided hog hunts.
Yeah. Walter Reed, that was it. Thanks,
They were taken down here on guided hog hunts, and people were paying. They passed the hat, and people around Texas would pay.
Yeah.
To at the time, hogs were still required a hunting license. They were paying to get these veterans hunting licenses, to rent the land.
Yeah.
And money to Wounded Warriors, and Wounded Warriors were making some money off of it.
Yeah.
And they got frankly insulting when they said, "Well, this involves guns and hunting, and we just don't want anything to do with it anymore." It's like, all right.
Yeah. Understood, Josh. Yeah. The other interesting thing was that was about the time that all of a sudden it came out that the director of Wounded Warriors, or the executive director, was making over $300,000 a year.
I thought it was higher than that.
Well, that was his base pay.
Oh.
And all of a sudden, people started taking a real hard look at where the money was going. And I am not sure, but I think it was less than 20 cents on the dollar of donations were actually going to help Wounded Warriors. The rest of it was going for administration, travel, hotels, and fundraising. Yeah, he's a piker compared to the Red Cross. This is true, Jerry, which is another reason that I refuse to give to the Red Cross.
When the Red Cross tried to run off HEB's disaster response, the HEB is a Texas grocery chain, and they have a fantastic disaster response thing set up. It's capitalism at its finest.
Yes.
And Red Cross, the last 2 times that they had a disaster down on the Gulf Coast, Red Cross tried to run HEB's disaster team off.
Yeah.
And I've had nothing to do with them since then. I mean, there's no way that they couldn't have worked in conjunction with HEB.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it was their way or the highway, and they swished up to the county judge and demanded that he order HEB to go away.
Yeah. Vets helping vets. USO. The other one I give to is Navy Relief. That's one that I know for a fact does good work. And the admiral in charge actually takes no pay. The other one was the one of the United Fund things. I can't remember the name of it now. Used to, in the military, you always had to give every year.
United Way?
Yeah, United Way.
Bugger those for work.
Yeah, that was another one that. Yeah.
That's a scam.
Yeah, that was an out and out scam.
The sheriff's office one year tried to do that. They had this thing where you would donate $25 from every other paycheck unless you opted out.
Yeah.
To United Way, and I pitched a fit over that.
Yeah. Peter, yeah, that's a hypothetical joke.
People eating tasty animals?
Yeah. Amway,
I haven't even thought of Amway in years.
Amway was a pyramid scheme. That's all that ever was.
So many of them are.
Huh?
So many of them are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Amway was out and out pyramid scheme. Uh, yeah, United Way still tries to have fundraisers. Their success rate is, from what I understand, very low.
Well, another one that their chief executive officer is getting paid out the wazoo.
Yeah.
If I pull the public release stats on your salaries, and your chief executive officer is making six figures or more,
Yeah.
or I think if I'm not mistaken, United Way was almost seven figures.
Yeah. So is American Red Cross.
If they're making six figures or more, my money's not going where it needs to go.
Well, they claim, quote unquote, claim that it's necessary to pay that much to get good managers. But
It's
yet,
a charity. People,
yes,
Yeah.
the head of the Salvation Army gets paid the same as a Salvation Army worker.
charity's a calling. You don't
Yeah.
go into charities for the money.
Yeah.
And people don't go into running charities for the money. If they're going into running a charity for the money,
Yeah.
if they need to be paid more than X,
Yeah.
Their heart isn't into charity. Their heart's into, and I'm all for capitalism. But when it comes to charity, your main thought needs to be the people your charity supporting.
Yeah, DW, just ask Wayne. Yeah. For those of you that are not familiar with that, that's Wayne LaPierre, who makes easily seven figures
No kidding.
from the NRA.
I don't think that counts as bennies.
Yeah. And a couple of 100,000 a year in bennies, including private jet flights everywhere, because he needs the security.
Well, with the amount of hate that the NRA gets, I'm not sure I can begrudge the private flights.
I can.
Well, yeah, I can. Yeah, I can.
When he takes a friggin' private jet on vacation.
Here's a Cessna 172, Wayne.
Yeah.
Knock yourself out.
I remember he showed up. I happened to be up in Indy for something and went to an Indy 1500 gun show. And he showed up there, flew in on a jet, private jet. It was a Cessna, but a nice one. Flew in, was there for 2 hours, and flew back to DC. Jets, even back in those days, were running $2,000 to $3,000 an hour. So that was $12,000 to $15,000. His suits are awesome. Yeah.
Apparently, his suits are tailored in England or something.
Yeah, bespoke suits.
Joseph A. Banks is good enough.
Yeah. We'll seg you into something else, which is, of course, the trial is still going on. It's now in the jury phase.
Ugh.
But yesterday,
Was this about Jump Kick Man?
now,
I got a rant about that.
now this is the DA, assistant DA, whatever the frick you want to call him, who picked up a weapon
And pointed at the jury
without checking
it,
to see if it was unloaded.
because one of his assistants had checked it.
Pointed
Ooh.
it at the jury with his finger on the trigger.
Way to go, Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Too soon?
No. The interesting part is, I don't know if anybody else caught this, that AR does not have any sights on it.
Oh, that was explained earlier. That was the four lawyers that were doing the MST3K
T3000.
on it. Apparently, when the police evidence tech took his AR into custody, it didn't fit in a box. So he pulled the sights and everything that was sticking it off. And according to the lawyers in the live stream, materially altered something.
Yeah, it's
of the
materially
evidence.
altered piece of evidence.
Yeah, he stripped everything off of it so it fit in the box.
Yeah. So that's materially altered piece of evidence. So it's not admissible in court.
Yeah. Has everybody seen the revelation about Jump Kick Man?
Now, go ahead. Your rant. Over to you.
Okay. So apparently, the district attorney who said in the trial they didn't know who Jump Kick Man was, have known who Jump Kick, his identity, as well as his lengthy criminal record, because he offered to testify for the state if they would drop his pending domestic violence and DWI charge.
Oh, my shocked face. Let me
So
show it to
the
you.
DA knows who Jump Kick Man is, has seen his record, tells the court, no, we have no clue, and never tells the defense who he is.
Isn't that special?
Now, I'm not sure if this is prosecutorial misconduct or not, but I suspect that it is.
Yep, that sounds like it is.
Because he offered to turn state's evidence if they drop other charges.
So
unrelated to this case.
Well, what about,
apparently he's a multiple convicted felon.
Oh, so we have 4 out of 4.
What is that meme about? It's got Greta Thunberg and Kyle Rittenhouse, and it says the difference between your 17-year-old changing the world and my 17-year-old changing the world is mine's already done it.
Yeah.
Now we made it better.
Yeah. Yeah. Mistrial with prejudice should have already happened. And it has been a farce. The more interesting, and of course, Biden calling him white supremacist. And then when Psaki was questioned about it, oh, well, we're not going to state anything. You know, that's the president's personal opinion, and it's being adjudicated, so we're not going to say anything about it. But we have a problem with 17-year-olds with weapons going into places.
Either made up your mind, sweetheart.
Yeah.
You're going to say something or you're not.
Yeah, minor should. Yeah, that one got dropped yesterday because.
And rightfully so.
Yeah.
But the left won't turn loose of that.
Yeah.
It's a bad charge. It should never have been charged. It doesn't apply. It wasn't the charge didn't, he didn't commit that offense, and the judge rightfully and legally dismissed it, and the leftists will not turn loose of that.
Yeah. Well, the original charge was that he was in possession of a short barrel rifle.
Which he wasn't.
Which he wasn't. And that was
that was the issue was, according to Wisconsin law, if it had been a short barrel rifle, he would have been unlawfully possessed of it. But the prosecution never got around to measuring the barrel. They just guessed.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, yesterday it came down to measuring.
Yeah. Oh, our bad. It's a legal rifle.
But you got to remember, these charges also were drummed up 2 days after the incident happened with no investigation. And you have 2 detectives with 2 very different stories about what has happened. Yeah, his mom drove him and the gun across the state line.
Are we sure? Because if I was under the impression, I could be wrong, I was under the impression that his friend that lived in Wisconsin was keeping it for him.
Yeah.
And he drove across and picked it up in Wisconsin.
Yeah. And the whole thing about the reason him going to Kenosha, that's where his father lived.
Well, okay, I'd like to scotch something right now. The civil law and law in the United States, with the exception of Louisiana, is based on English common law. English common law has a rich, multi-thousand-year history of the community being caretakers of the peace.
Yep.
This is codified in one of Robert Poole's rules for police, in which he said that the police should remember that the public is the police are the public, and the police are the only difference is, and I'm paraphrasing here, the police are the only members of public tasked full time with maintaining the peace.
Right.
Both English common law and French imperial law have hue and cry laws. Still standing. Hue and cry was if a crime was committed. This is where the screaming bloody blue murder comes from. The phrase "screaming blue murder." If a crime is committed, the citizen that witnessed the crime was to cry theft or murder or whatever the crime was, and then begin pursuing the suspected.
Right.
And then anybody hearing this cry was to repeat the cry and take up the pursuit.
Right.
And then the public was to seize the offender and take him before a magistrate or a noble or what the hell ever. This is codified and is precedent. Hue and cry, the public being the custodians of the peace, is in English common law, 25,000 or 2,500 years worth of it. I'm really getting annoyed by these ass weasels that wouldn't know a law book if it fell on their face, telling me that the government should be taking care of this.
Yeah.
No, they shouldn't. The police are the public are the police.
And in French code law, he would never have been charged in the first place because it was obvious self-defense.
Well, in English common law, he wouldn't have been charged either. Again, obvious self-defense. Anybody that doesn't think you can get your skull caved in with a skateboard,
they need to go
come to North Texas and I'll demonstrate.
Yeah, they need to go look at the training program that Antifa has, because that's actually in their training program.
Oh, yeah.
How to kill somebody with a skateboard. And the police are not taking care of it per their orders. Yeah. And there's nothing we can do about that, Jason.
And by precedent, then the public
can legally
not only can legally, but should.
Yeah. DW, if only we could hit them with law books. Of course, that'd probably hurt their poor little whatevers.
Some of the law books I've got would be lethal weapons.
Yeah, sadly, RK, that's true too. It's been buried under wokeism in the UK now. That does bring up an interesting point. Apparently now the whole get woke, go broke, the left is denying now that they're woke.
Well, of course.
Yeah, because
not a surprise
of the impact that get woke, go broke has had. And
we're not woke. We're just doing all the woke things and mouthing all the woke phrases and being woke. But we're not actually woke because people are thumping our pee-pees for being woke.
Yeah. Pulled over from parts of Europe where basically everything that might be classed as a weapon is banned. Skateboard isn't a weapon. Bullshit.
In Texas, a weapon is anything utilized as a weapon. Texas has a wonderful penal code. If I pick up a whiskey bottle and hit somebody with it, the whiskey bottle now becomes a weapon.
Yeah.
If I pick up a diaper bag, and trust me, you're talking to a guy that got his butt handed to him by a plastic Jesus, a fly swat, and a diaper bag. So Big Mama worked me over with that diaper bag. And I did charge her with assault with a weapon.
Yeah.
It's the use of, not the implement.
Yeah. Actually, Don's has actually just had to say you don't know your own attorney's name. That's pretty bad.
That happens.
Yeah.
My favorite is your bondsman's here. Which one? What do you mean, which one?
Yeah. What finally killed Big Mama?
Heart attack.
Yeah.
Heart attack. I guess.
I remember a couple of the ones that we had down there that didn't know who their lawyer was because they kept changing them.
Yeah, they kept firing their lawyers. Big Mama died in bed. We assume it was a heart attack.
Hey, Brian.
But she was found dead in bed. God bless whatever took her.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the other favorite thing that the criminals love to do is just about the time you get ready to file on them and go to court, they'll change lawyers and start all over again.
I don't know about other states. Texas is big enough, and we've got so many penitentiaries. I don't know if it's actual policy, but TDC tends to house a offender, what they call an offender, as far away from the place he committed the offense as possible.
Yeah.
So if you're in Amarillo and you catch pen time, the first prison you go to is Beaumont.
Yeah.
Or El Paso, as far away from the culture that created you as TEC can get you.
Yep.
Well, if you're in county jail, you're innocent until proven guilty, which means you have a lot more rights and privileges. Your baby mama or mamas, depending on how that swings, um, can show up and put money on your books. They'll come see you 3 times a week. 3 times a week, Jim?
Yeah.
Jim used to handle that. So 3 times a week, they'll show up 3 times a week. They'll put money on their books and they'll come in and tell them they love them. And then when you wind up 16 hours away, baby mama doesn't show up anymore.
Yeah.
And they don't come down and put money in their books anymore. And a jail has to be warmer than 65 and cooler than 85 degrees.
Yeah.
And the penitentiaries
don't have that requirement.
No, they have vents on the roof.
Yeah.
And it gets warmish inside, and they lose a lot of privileges and a lot of rights when they become a convicted felon down in the pen.
Yeah.
So it's in their best interest to stay in county as long as possible. And a lot of them, we had one old boy, one of Jim's favorite characters, put off going to trial for 5 years. Finally went to trial, got 5 years, time served, and walked out of the jail.
Yep.
Weren't you going to shoot him if you ever saw him again?
Uh-huh. Well, he threatened me.
Which one didn't?
Yeah. Well, he made the mistake of doing it in front of the other inmates. I said, thank you very much, because I see your ass, I'm going to shoot you.
Mm-hmm.
The other interesting one, he was the one that had 2 or 3 different baby mamas keep showing up.
Oh yeah, and he had to be real careful of which one he saw.
Yeah.
He would get hacked if like baby mama number 1 needed to come on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And baby mama number 2 was supposed to come on Thursday. And he got wrapped around the axle if they showed up at the same time.
Yeah. And they did a couple.
Because they didn't know about each other.
Yeah. Yeah, that got rather interesting. Okay, have fun, Cedar. Be safe going home. Attorney called in, phone decided to break, and you now have a line hung up. Lovely.
Oh God.
Yeah, that one's not one you can fix.
That'll be a potload of grievances.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Jim was the grievance investigator for our agency for a while. And he got to listen to sniveling, whining inmates and then tell them no. It was glorious.
Yeah. And occasionally actually do something productive for an inmate.
Well, you were fair.
Yeah.
They were stupid. It was all even out at the end.
We did find the guy's $100.
And you pee smacked medical a couple of times.
Yeah. Medical was not my favorite group of people. But it's one of the things, just in one instance, without getting into detail, it's basically this inmate said, they stole $100 from him because it didn't end up on his book. So go back and watch the video, watch multiple hours of video. And it was one of those days in bookend. And there were multiple things going on, multiple people in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And I'm watching both the officers search through this guy's wallet. And I never see a large bill come out of it. So go back to him. Okay. Where do you remember where the bill was in your wallet? He says, oh, I had it hidden. Oh, lovely. So.
Hidden where?
Yeah.
No one would find it?
Yeah. So the sergeant and I go down and go through the property room, find his bag of crap.
Stinky bag of crap.
Oh, yeah. And sure enough, there's a $100 bill secreted inside a hidden compartment of the wallet. Okay. Go back down, sign it in, put it on his book. And he actually thanked me for that before he filed the next grievance.
Next grievance, yes.
Really, dude? Ah,
The best one I ever saw was the grievance. Jim got grieved on
yeah, more than once.
because an inmate grieved that officers had missed his money.
Yeah.
And then Jim found the money, put it on the books, and the inmate owed the sheriff's office a
Oh,
crap
yeah.
ton of money.
Oh, yeah.
So the money immediately came off his books to pay his debt.
Yeah.
And he filed a grievance on Jim for putting money on his books, or
Yeah.
putting money on his books. It's like, I got this grievance, like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah. That was a fun one to deliver to you and watch your face. Yeah. Yeah.
You're,
That
you're getting
definitely
grieved
got
on
the,
for following policy and doing the right thing.
That one definitely got the Labrador Retriever look.
What the?
Oh,
Public defender. Ugh.
Oh, that's going to be fun. And it's a pub defender from another area. Oh, that's even better.
No wonder he doesn't know his name. Public defender's office.
Yes,
Don't
I
get
did. I did not write it in fountain pen, but I did write in blue ink.
Yeah, he always used blue ink. I always used fountain pen.
Yeah.
Which was maybe a mistake because the
Yeah.
inmates got used to that.
Yeah,
They got annoyed because fountain pen ink is water based.
Yeah.
And inmates are big on tattoos. They love tattooing, and they will make tattoo ink because they get tired of the plain black big ink. They'll make tattoo ink out of everything they think they can get a hold of. So my signature color was this lovely burgundy I had made for me. And a whole bunch of inmates were just lit up because they were about to add burgundy color to their tats.
Yeah.
And it's water based. So it
don't work. Yeah.
It didn't work.
So, what do y'all have for questions from the crowd today?
Are we doing that these days?
Somebody I know has got to have a question or a comment or something. Hello.
I like to think that there's a whole bunch of
Gosh, you finally hung up. Well,
frantically typing people, but
yeah.
I don't know. Is anybody price beat in your area? Not our area, their areas. How they use the ink in a document? Two different ways. Generally, they'll take the Vaseline that we're forced to provide them on commissary, and they'll place a layer of Vaseline over the document where the ink is, and the ink will leach into the Vaseline.
Yeah.
And then they'll just keep reapplying until they clean as much ink as they can.
Yeah.
And then they'll boil Vaseline over a candle and
Which they're
concentrate.
not supposed to have.
Yeah, which they have to make. The fascinating thing is when they can't get Bic ink, they will take it's usually Vaseline and a Q-tip.
Yeah.
And that's the candle is Vaseline and a Q-tip. And they'll make a candle and then they'll fold up the cardboard back of a legal pad, and they'll make a very low oxygen environment.
Yeah.
So the candle will burn hot and smoky, and they'll get carbon. Carbon will deposit on the legal pad, and they'll use the carbon for the ink. They'll mix that with water and or Vaseline and use that for the ink.
Yeah, Josh, we've already talked about the belt-fed lever action 44 Magnum. Cedar's drawings are spot on. Yes, they are.
I'm very proud of that book.
Yeah.
For a book that I didn't intend to write and never thought I was writing, I'm kind of proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up in the 80s today up here, RK, but it's supposed to be 32 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Or low.
Low of 32.
A baked cinnamon apple frappe.
What?
I don't. What the hell is that, koala?
No, I think it
Is
was
that
best.
something you drink or you eat?
I don't know.
I know what my verdict is, Brian.
Verdict on.
Rittenhouse.
I
He should walk on all
think it's
counts.
justifiable self-defense. However, last video I saw, there were two numpties on the front porch of the courthouse screaming into megaphones, and they can be heard in the courtroom.
Yeah.
which I don't know why they're not getting a hickory shampoo and throwing whole.
Yeah, Jason, that had to. Yeah, that would have been an interesting one. Several inmates come down with severe reactions, including losing 2 fingers.
From blowfish?
Yeah.
How the hell did they get blowfish into a prison?
Calligraphy set.
Oh, who the hell let him have a calligraphy set?
Obviously, wherever he worked, private prison. Yeah. The inmates and administration were equal intelligence. Wow.
That happens a lot.
Yep. Well, it's actually going to be closer to 50-degree swing, Nancy.
From 80, is it 80 something?
Yeah, it's 83. I think it was 83 earlier. So see what it is now.
Well, I'm gonna check the weather for that day because it's Texas. Whee!
Yeah.
Currently 86 degrees.
Baked an apple and cinnamon and brown sugar, and then added vanilla ice cream. That could be doable.
It's Thursday, high of 60, low of 32.
Yeah.
So
it's 87 right now.
We're looking at a 30-degree swing.
50-degree. Your math needs work.
32 to 60?
Yeah, but from today to there.
Oh, gotcha. I was thinking through the day.
We had a very Chicago-style hawk here yesterday. That had to be interesting.
Oh my God, the Babylon bee. If y'all aren't following the Babylon bee, aka the United States newspaper of record, you probably ought to.
Yeah.
Current headline: Kyle Rittenhouse asked to step outside and defend the courthouse while verdict is being read.
Yeah, Thursday's going to be a little bit brisk around here. Yeah, and yeah, RK, you would not believe how quickly the temperature will fall up here. I have seen it drop more than 10 degrees in less than 10 minutes.
Up in Panhandle, I watched a 30-degree drop in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Screaming, blue norther came screaming through, and that'll drop your temperature with a quickness.
Yeah, cored apples stuffed with nuts and baked in pastry. Yeah, that would be good.
Do you foresee a sequel to April Fool's set in Kenosha anytime soon?
No.
Thank you for kickstarting his muse.
Last thing I needed. God damn it. I've got other things to work on.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, RK says, yeah, I would panhandle native. Yeah, that's true. You know, and once you grow up in this part of the country, you get used to those kind of changes. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people can't understand that. They can't understand why we prefer to go outside and look and see what's going to hit us in the face.
Hey, anybody that trusts a weatherman around here?
Yeah.
I love the rock on a string weather.
Wyoming, yeah.
The rock on a string weather determiner.
Yeah.
If the rock's wet, it's raining. If the rock's horizontal, it's windy.
Yeah.
If it's white, it's snowing.
Yeah. Yeah, 500 National Guard in Kenosha.
Yeah, if they'd been there the first time, we wouldn't be having this issue right now. Or if the police had been allowed to do their job and bust up the riot.
Yeah. Yeah, Nancy, welcome to Texas. Movie in October. Heat one day, suffering sunburn, the next day frosted. Yep. Yeah, we don't have any. Well, we've got a few trees up here, Jason. Not enough to actually blunt the wind per se.
We are on the north or the ishy western edge of what used to be the cross timbers.
Yeah.
So we've got the capability to actually grow trees around here, as witnessed some of our older neighborhoods. We actually have some. We are hip deep in acorns right now. Once you get past us and you head off into Wilbarger County, you don't get trees anymore.
Yeah.
You get mesquite, and that ain't a tree. I don't care what to tell you. We are hip deep in acorns. Have you walked around?
Yes. My friggin' front yard. It's going to tear up another lawnmower blade. Yeah, Dawn says she's going to pass on the Malta anthology.
For now.
Yeah. Josh, Army and a cop. That does not make a difference. You're supposed to know how to do basic math. Yeah. Nancy, nothing between us and South Dakota but a barbed wire fence. And it's got 2 strands down.
I used to tell folks the only thing between Amarillo and the North Pole was a one moose and 2 barbed wire strands with barbed wire fences with strands missing.
Yeah.
Used to love to watch the storms rolling down the eastern side of the Rockies, getting in English just before they came screaming through the panhandle.
Yeah. Well, Josh, you can always, if you feel like you can try something, try it. What the hell?
Just right. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but you've still written something.
Yeah, we've got a lot of pecans up here too, and they're fairly good size. I mean, the
For
acres
once.
are friggin' huge.
For once. Last 2 years, pecan crops have been frankly pitiful.
Don, we know we can't force you to write. We've been trying for years. It hasn't worked yet. Yes, dear, the nagging is not new because we love you and we want you to be productive. And you can write if you get off your butt and do it.
And you can make money from writing.
Yes, not much, but you can make some.
You can get an extra cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Which is a cup of coffee you didn't have before.
This is true. Yeah. Now, pecans, and the sad part is John is allergic to nuts.
Yeah. And that's really kind of sad.
And I just screwed the pooch because I'm doing a pecan pie.
She just won't eat
for
it.
next Saturday.
She won't eat it.
Oh, well. I grew up on pecans. I love them. Our family actually has 40 acres of pecans down in Georgia that are all taken by the Georgia Pecan Company. And the harvesting of those is rather interesting. They bring in this thing, is the only way to describe it. Yeah, that comes in and wraps its claws around a tree. And then what looks like an umbrella, upside down umbrella, comes out and tick, 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 tick around a tree. Then they shake the hell out of the tree. All the pecans fall down. And this machine then takes them into a hopper, degloves them, and spits the pecan out the back end into a storage area. And I mean, it doesn't make us a lot of money, but it makes some money for the farm down there, which is worth it. And I usually get a couple of pounds of pecans for free every year.
We've got a wonderful little pecan company down here.
Yeah.
That makes pecan fudge and pecan stuff and more pecan oil and more pecan. I grew up eating pistachios and cashews.
Yeah.
We would get pecans. Pecans are a treat because we get them when we went to see Grandma and Grandpa. And I love pecans. I really do.
Anthropomorphic aspect of climate change is greatly exaggerated. Yep. What? He compared chopped chas to crystal knock.
What?
What? I can't.
See,
I can't even process.
When I see riot control, machine used for riot control,
yeah,
I see the snowblower in Larry's book.
Yeah.
If we're going to control a riot, by God, we're going to control a riot.
Oh yeah, it could be used for riot control. I'd actually prefer to use the log chipper, but that's besides the point.
Quality versus quantity, my friend.
Yeah. Oh, I know. They went ate and smashed windows and killed a couple of people up there. Yeah, none of which has ever been prosecuted, by the way, which I find rather interesting. But then again, that's Seattle.
It's been ignored, which is really annoying.
And they're down 370, I think, 370 police officers. And most of the restaurants in downtown Seattle have now closed because they can't afford to pay people, including historic restaurants that have been there for years and years and years. Apparently, Pioneer Square is just about empty these days. Uh, Actually, I don't even know if the fish market is still open in Pioneer Square. That used to be a trip to go kind of watch those guys. You know, because they're throwing fish back and forth and not dropping them.
Practice makes perfect.
Yeah. Stallman Farms. Oh yes, that's a big pecan orchard.
We're in a pecan area here because we got
Yeah.
two different pecan companies. We got Pecan Shed there at Itchy Paw, and we got that one out at Chillicothe.
Yeah. And we got multiple varieties of pecans too. You got Pawnees, you got Cherokees. Can't remember what the other two are, but we got
Backyard.
four. Huh?
Backyard.
Yeah.
Backyard pecans. What strain is it? Backyard.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, guess what I discovered today?
Yes.
The LibertyCon guest membership is up. I was checking to make sure everybody in the group had memberships. The literary guest of honor.
Oh.
I forget what the hell his name is. Taylor something or other, I think. He writes.
Taylor Anderson.
Yeah. He lives. You know, he lives an hour away from us.
Yeah, I know.
Of course you did.
I've talked to him about trying to come up here, but he's also a college professor.
Yeah, apparently at Charleston.
Yeah.
Dirt and Bug Scuffle. The original Bug Scuffle was white. The current Bug Scuffle is red. Red dirt.
Go with Caliche.
Yeah, the original was Caliche. And good God, Caliche does not come out of your clothes.
A 9-inch Reese's pie.
Wow.
Crack.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The original Bug Scuffle was on the eastern side of the Panhandle. There was one of the counties where the Panhandle breaks onto the plains, or the Caprock breaks onto the plains.
Josh, I would not touch that Springfield High Power clone for at least a year.
I'm gonna give it 6 months for him to work the bugs out because it's an old design, and it's pretty much had the bugs worked out. I want one so badly though.
I want one, but I want one blued. I got the real thing sitting in the safe out there. But no, I would not touch it for at least a year.
What I'm hoping is that Springfield and everybody jumps on this, the SA35.
Yeah.
So they start bringing out options.
Yeah.
A blued one. I really want a chopped and channeled for concealed carry.
Yeah.
Because that would be fantastic.
It's a F-35, Brian.
What's an F-35?
The Springfield.
SA-35.
SA-35. It is a copy of basically the Browning High Power.
It's a Browning High Power that's been tweaked. Basically, they took everybody that was gun knowledgeable.
Yeah.
When they got a high power, did some things to it. And what Springfield did, because apparently FN still has a patent on the high power, so they can't call it a high power.
Yeah.
What they did was they took the high power and they did everything to it that all the gun cognoscenti were doing.
Yeah.
They yanked the magazine safety, which was a stupid idea.
Thank you.
Stupid idea to begin with, and did some of the work that folks would have gunsmiths do to the original basically a P-35.
Yeah.
So you've got this. It's basically an upgraded high power. It's not really. It's a high power, but it's the upgraded gunsmith version.
Yeah. Yeah. Springfield price is below 2 times the MSRP. The Turkish copy, though, yeah, that is interesting. I've seen one of those.
A lot of folks have made copies of the Browning high power. I mean, it's probably one of the most produced guns in the world.
Yeah.
And the Turks have got their little claws on. And I've seen Turkish high powers rated from just excellent to, oh my God, you're about to lose a digit.
Have you ever ridden Hank the cow dog?
I have actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got an original high power that I had Novak work on for me a few years ago.
Novak was the big one.
Yeah.
Novak and Robbie over at Robar.
Yeah.
Robbie Barkman over at Robar.
Yeah.
They were the two big ones for.
Yeah.
And they had a high power pack. Well, Cylinder and Slide did too, but he cost a little more. They had a standard. They had just what they call a high power package.
Yeah.
And you send them high power, and they rip the guts out of it and fix it.
Yeah. Well, they all did that. And I mean, that's where most of the custom guys got their start.
You work on high powers?
No, just taking everything from high powers to 1911s to,
Yeah.
you know, you pick it. Yost, Ed Brown, Billy Lawfridge, Les Bayer, you know, God, the name, goes on and on and on. All those guys were basically gunsmiths that were fixing the problems of 1911's Browning high power.
Yes, they were. When you say in the vicinity of bug scuffle, there have been, near as I can tell, three talons of bug scuffle, and that's just the ones I found in Texas.
Yeah.
And there's been even more bug tussles. You've got bug scuffle and bug tussle.
Yeah.
And there's probably 10 or more bug scuffle / bug tussle towns around Texas. And it's such a charming name that a lot of folks use it.
Garthwaite's another good one, yes. As a matter of fact, funny story, Jerry. A number of years ago, we were up at Tulsa, and I was standing back at Cylinder and Slide's little display, talking to Billy Lawfridge and talking him out of a gun. And Yost came walking up, carrying one of Garthwaite's pistols. And it was like, he goes, yeah, but I love the work. I love the way you does stuff. and he hands it across. And it's like, damn, it's like these guys kept copying each other.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's, honest to God, there's only so much you can do to high power or 1911.
Yeah.
And everybody, you copied me. Well, he might have copied you, but honestly, there's just a limited number of things you can do the damn thing.
Twist, Washington, yeah.
Cut and shoot, Texas.
Yeah. Y City, Arkansas, with a population of 3 or 17, depending on which dog had puppies that day. All right, folks, we've wasted another hour and 2 minutes of your time. Sorry.
Well, I got here late, so.
Thank you very much. Bug Tussle, Southeast Oklahoma. Yeah. Cut and shoot, Texas.
Cut and shoot.
Yeah.
Cut and shoot.
All right, folks. We'll see you on Thursday. If you're in Texas, get ready for some weather.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little chilly coming up a couple of days.
And remember, don't sweat the petty stuff. Don't pet the sway stuff. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.